Hi everybody, this is the Fluffy Fox for the channel The Creative Fox, and welcome to my third episode. The holidays have been a bit busy, busy, but a bit busy. And today we're building a water slide. I used the rainbow water slide from Noah from the workshop because I think it's a really good blueprint. And of course I could have done this by myself, but if it's there, why don't I use it? Here's the story behind this. I actually don't want to build pools in this build, but I wanted to keep the playground vibe. So in my imagination, these slides aren't actually water slides, they are dry slides. But as there are no dry slides in Planet Coaster 2 at the moment, except for the Helter-Skelter, I will just use these ones to simulate having one of these big wavy slide complexes or slide buildings that are, for example, in Stukenbrock or in other parks or even on fairgrounds. So I will use this slide and start to hide all the water structures like the pumps, the changing rooms, the cleaners. I will hide everything, and then I will use these slides as dry slides, or at least imagine these are dry slides. I start fiddling around with the position a bit, and I will change much about these slides. And here I actually needed to find something. And this is interesting because I think not many people use this. As you see me try to recolor the slide and all of that, I will give you a tip on how to remove slide platforms from, for example, existing blueprints. If you have a platform and you want it to be smaller, what you need to do is actually build a new platform on the side of it, and then you can delete the platform pieces. I noticed while video editing, you see me recoloring the slide here, that I used the wrong color for one slide segment, which will get corrected later, but not in this video. See, I'm using the brown pieces. I did not notice until editing this video that I actually used brown pieces instead of green pieces for one part of the slide. The recoloring goes smoothly, I think, and then I will complete the slide design. And I'm really happy with how that turned out, because I wanted to keep to my franchise colors like browns and greens, and as such I will remove the palm trees and all of that later. Here I'm actually recoloring the path, but after that I decide, no, I don't want to have the typical staircase. I want to have a path leading up to the slide that is directly on the side of the slide. I start building one building with a body dryer, 2 shops and changing rooms, but as you will see, I will hide them, so these look like a generic building, perhaps with doors in them. And I'm thinking about making these a restroom as well, like pretend they're a restroom with a restroom sign and all of that. I notice that I need more power there, and this is the first time I can't hide one of these power distributors in the building, So in the end you will see me build a power distributor outside of the building, which I end up designing for later. Some people could say, oh my god, Foxy, why are you still copying these boring buildings from the entrance? But this is actually the point. This park was built in the late 80s or early 90s, and these generic buildings were actually all over the place. So here the slide is beginning to work, so I start theming them. I wanted to use logs and do a log wall, but in the end the log wall actually was too drab for me, so I started with logs and did the log wall, and after that built a building under it. This building under the slide has so much space, and I thought about what could be under there, so I will place restrooms and more changing rooms under there, because I noticed that this area gets very crowded and the changing rooms are so much over busy that I wanted to have more changing rooms, even if they are not changing rooms in my imagination. You see me editing some more logs. I tried to turn them around a bit. I tried to give them a little bit of different height, so I have a bit of variance in them. And you see that I hid the water pumps and the water filter under the slide. These should not be visible. As I said, the slide in my mind is a dry slide, even though in engine is a wet slide. And even if it's a water slide or flume, in engine it's not unknown for parks to have random water slides. For example, the Wild- und Freizeitpark Thule has a random water slide in it. So yeah, it also might be that it's a water slide just randomly there. While, for example, Stukenbrock has this slide as a dry slide where you have some mats like carpet-like mats and dry down. And this is actually a suggestion I would make. It's a clear money maker. Well, it's a clear opportunity for Frontier to actually make new stuff for Planet Coaster 2 without spending too much money. Use the slides that are already there, use the flumes, remove the water, up the friction, and in the end just build a little bit of a brake section or like a little bit of a natural slowing section, so you can use them as dry slides to build playgrounds, to build splash pads, to build everything that doesn't need water slides, that just needs slides. Because in theme parks there are often play areas, playground areas, and I wanted to stick to the adventure playground side of this park at the beginning, because as I said, this is a small park with many playing ground things. Here I show you the trick of building platforms to remove platforms, so I could remove the platform I didn't need there. And here I notice only using logs is a little bit of drab, so I start to build a wall with my trusty 2-color plaster pieces, and I really like how that turned out. You will see that I exchange some of the logs for the plaster pieces in the end, but also this was a struggle. Doing this wall was extremely tricky because the flume platforms are actually so large and so unwieldy that hiding these structures is really hard. And I didn't like it. I still don't like these platforms. For example, recoloring the platform just does nothing. It just doesn't do anything. And this is typical of the mistakes, errors, problems that Planco 2 actually has. And this brings me to the state of the game. The game, the foundation, is great. It's so much fun playing this. It's so great, but these things, these small things that simply don't work or are so inconvenient are unnerving sometimes. Why can't we remove the railing and build our own railing? In Planet Zoo, we could actually remove or not use the in-game barriers and use null barriers instead. This can't be so hard to program, right? I mean, I teach computer sciences and it doesn't seem so hard to program that these railings are actually not there, or to switch off these railings, or to recolor them, but both does not work, and it unnerves me. It makes me not wanting to use these rooms. I did use walls or logs to hide these things, but then you have to build a big, bulky railing or wall around it to hide these, especially the foundation of the platform. And this even looks worse sometimes than the railings themselves, because they're so big and unwieldy that it's so hard to hide them. And again, we had our first update, we had our December update, and still we can't remove the curbs. So please, Frontier, repeat after me. Remove the curbs. Remove the curbs. Remove the curbs. Thank you, Frontier. This is something I really, really want you to do. I start using some trim for the building pieces here, for the walls here, and in the future of this video you will see me doing some more trellis on these walls. But you see here how hard it is to hide these wide foundation thingies. I wanted to make this look like a closed building, so I had to fill in this small gap with art pieces. I used the same art pieces that are between the slides, and I want it to look like staff can have access under the slide to do maintenance and stuff. I wanted to have the opportunity for people who are waiting for their kids to slide down to get something to drink. So I incorporated 3 vending machines here and used my franchise style or franchise decorations on them, and then continued to do the trim work. As you see, I think I made this slide successfully mine. Here I'm doing the ceiling work. I start a little bit too low, but then you will see me editing it. The ceiling for the queue, which I really like. Again, sometimes it's really, really weird with the naming conventions of the pieces. This one is a wood ceiling, but it isn't. It's a Viking jetty piece. I don't get it. The naming conventions are so weird sometimes, because it's a Viking jetty platform, but it's made out of wood and it can be used as a ceiling. I don't get it. I simply have problems with translating the names of the pieces to the actual piece. I would look for a wood ceiling and never find something I like because these pieces are jetty pieces. I do understand that in this case this is more of a skill problem with me, not with the game. But I want to continue the conversation of the game while I build this cover and protect people from getting sunburned or rained upon. Planet Coaster 2 is a great game. I'm having fun. I'm at almost 200 hours now. It's a really great game. But the game, the state the game is in, is an early access title. It's not a full game. And if Frontier would have stated this title as an early access title and transparently asked us, do you want to test our early access title? Everything would be transparent and fine. But this is a full released game, and the state it is in is not a full release, it's early access. Sadly, while I build my own trellis here, this is something that the gaming industry at the moment is trending towards. Releasing games that are clearly unfinished as a finished product and then patching them later. I don't care about, for example, the first DLC. I don't really care. I bought it on day one because I'm a really big fan of the game and I like the Mach Extreme Spinner and I like some of the flat rides. But even there are decisions that I don't get. For example, there's this one ride which is almost like an air race. An air race, I think it's from Zamperla. Air race is a really common flat ride in many theme parks. But I don't know why Frontier did it like this. It's not an air race because it has elements of the Hexentanz ride also, and it's a weird hybrid of both, something that doesn't exist in real life, I think, and it's a weird mishmash of two rides, and as such I still can't build an air race, which would be really common in theme parks. I can only build this weird hybrid thing that they gave us with the DLC. Things that Frontier does are actually great, and then there are these weird decisions in the middle of them that I simply can't understand. And this game has so many problems. I would rather have them take care of these problems, and I hope after the apology from Frontier that they really get it. That they need to fix the problems first. I can understand that people are angered by the release of the DLC for a game that is unfinished. I think people developing the DLC are actually different people than the crew that is working on fixing the bugs, but still it gives you a bad aftertaste in your mouth when you think about, hey, they put development time into making more money with the DLC and not enough development time into fixing the actual mistakes of the game. And that's why Planet Coaster 2 has such a bad reputation at the moment. I don't think so, but I understand why other people think so. Here we have another example. We still can't remove the railings from the flume platforms. The flume platforms are too big. We can't use gridded pieces as non-grid pieces, which, for example, in Planet Zoo, we could do that with a mod. Why doesn't Frontier look at the most popular mods, for example, and try to incorporate their functionality? Just look at Freebuild. Freebuild is such a popular mod, and it does things that everybody, or at least many people, would want, like the easy Z fighting tool. Click on a piece, click a shortcut, and it moves the piece 1 pixel to the camera. Which is really easy, and as such you can defeat the Z fighting issue with only one shortcut. Why doesn't Frontier look at that and think, wow, these are features we didn't think about, but these are actually great, so let's do them. Still, we need to press I for a multi-selection and then C for confirming the multi-selection. Why? It did work before in Zoo and Planet Coaster without this weird confirming selection stuff. We don't need that. And again, I know some things are skill issues. I for certainly can't understand what problems Delay Designer has with the pathing tool. Yeah, I think there is a little bit of skill issue, but on the other hand, I think there are so many small problems with the game that can be solved really easily, but aren't. And that's where people feel betrayed and where people feel they want to let out their anger. I wrote a big feedback post on the Frontier forums because I didn't want to just rant in my videos, who are watched by almost no one anyway. So I did the big forum post, and I was really glad that actually one of, I think the senior community manager reacted to my post and said, this was good, I make sure this gets read. I was really glad about that, but these issues need addressing because Planet Coaster 2 is a great game. I love this game. I'm having so much fun playing it, but it still feels unfinished, and it would be really bad, and I fear that this is the case, that the game isn't as successful as it could be and thus abandoned pretty early. I'm so happy that Planet Zoo is successful enough that we get many DLCs and many pieces and many ways to express ourselves creatively with the game. I just hope this isn't the case with Planet Coaster. Investing in fixing the problems is imperative for the long-time gain from the game. If the foundation and the issues are solved, then you can sell as many DLCs as you want, but you need a solid foundation first. I think the conversation is typically for the internet going a bit into the wrong direction. We need to provide constructive feedback, constructive criticism for the game. So please don't make us Control X something and then have to press Control X again and again to copy stuff. Please make things with Control D the same height as the piece before. Please make the cues have the full controls of the path tool. Please make colors be kept in different set pieces. For example, plaster pieces. If I select a different plaster piece, it always has the default color. Please give us more scaling options. Many pieces are still giant size. Please give us custom billboards, custom media, and make the billboards scalable. Please don't make the guests think, I wish this place had a pool, to deter different play styles of this game. I think it's important to have different play styles and to not pressure people into using pools or into using the water park side of the game. Please enable the tool to combat Z-fighting from free build. It should be possible. Somebody did it. For example here, I'm trying to build one of these mats, and if I stop selecting them, they weren't able to be selected for once because the hitboxes of the parts are too big. I can't select some things clearly because the hitbox is bigger than the parts actually are. I didn't have a problem with that in Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster 1. It's just in Planet Coaster 2. And these small things are the things that make people give up. For example, I heard Dodgy is not playing the game anymore because these small gripes are too much for him. And I understand, and I can relate. And Frontier needs to start caring more about the basic problems of the game before releasing a DLC again, which I think they got now. We got the apology video, and I hope they stay true to their word and take care of the basic things. I understand the frustrations, for example, with the pathing system. Like here I had some problems with forming the path like I wanted it, but on the other hand, the pathing system is so powerful that with a little bit of fiddling around and skill, you can actually do great things with it. So this is not a problem for me, but I need to see Frontier actually handling the small but many issues. All these issues are small. like the pathfinding of the guests. Why can't the guests see that, oh, this road is busy, but there are 2 or more different roads that lead to the same destination, so I will take that one instead. No, every path that leads to somewhere where it's popular is a big bumper car session. I don't get it. This is something that needs to be addressed, and it should be before more paid DLC is coming, because people feel ripped off otherwise. I don't, but I know that people feel ripped off, and I understand why. I will still play this game. I will like this game. I'm having fun. I have almost video material for 3 more videos now, including that one, but I understand, and I hope that this game gets better because I love it so much. I want to love it even more. I hope I made myself clear about this, because I'm not a hater, and many of the people who criticize Frontier for the game are not haters. They are lovers of the game that want to see the franchise they love succeed and be successful in what it does. They want to buy more DLCs, more good DLCs, because they want more parts, they want to promote Frontier, but we didn't talk about the missing features yet. For example, we have a resort theme. That's great, but we can't build working hotels or a gift shop. The gift shop technology exists. The hotel technology exists. The restaurant technology exists. All of this was in Zoo or Blanco 1, but now it's gone. And people feel like it's not in there intentionally to sell more DLCs. And as such, people feel pressed out of their money. And while I'm playing, these small issues keep turning up and keep frustrating me. As you see here, I just tried to select the barrels to remove the flowers, and it didn't work. I used a small trick here because I used a null path or one of the natural paths and just used them to be able to place bins and benches on the ground, which I find to be really successful because the small stumps are not that noticeable, and I will even decorate them with a few gas bottles in here. So that worked, but that's one thing. We could use a null path, just a null path. I know Tagi did a tutorial how you can actually create a null path, but we shouldn't need these. We should just be able to create a null path. We should just be able to use gridded pieces as non-gridded pieces, because it's possible. Free build as a mod just made it possible. So Frontier should be able to make it possible too. We should remove the curbs. We should be able to edit the landscape under the curbs. Again, free build made it possible. Frontier should make it possible too. We should be able to multi-select without using the I button and the confirm multi-selection. The pieces we use and duplicate should actually keep their height. It was possible in Planet Zoo. It works sometimes in Planet Coaster, but it doesn't work every time in Planet Coaster. 2, of course, not 1. In Planet Coaster it worked. We should be able to select things without the hitboxes being in the way. We should be able to place benches outside of paths. I don't get why we are not, and I am really puzzled by these decisions. I think, and many of the content creators actually say, yes, it's great that Frontier has passion for this product, but the main objective should be at the moment to not lose touch with the community, because if this would have been an early access title and they would have said, we want feedback from the community, what do you want from the game? I think this would have been a much better launch of the game and monetarily much more profitable. But I think this is a sign of how economy works at the moment. Short time gains are trumping, and yes, I used that word intentionally, long time profits. And that's a bad thing. We see with people like Larian that creating great games like Baldur's Gate 3 actually works well. So maybe the industry can change. that was a bit of a rant. You see, I decided to have the restrooms under the slide now, and then created a bit of a seating area with some more vending machines. And after this rant, I will leave you with a few impressions of my park, and I hope you liked the video. And if you liked the video, please give me a like, perhaps subscribe to my channel and enjoy the impressions. This has been the Fluffy Fox for the channel The Creative Fox, and I'll see you next time. Stay creative, stay fluffy, and bye bye.